Hello everyone, welcome back to Too Sweet MTG and welcome to another Cube Tuesdays. In this episode, we're going to be doing some Pack 1 Pick 1s from the newly updated MTGO Vintage Cube. For those unaware, me and James, who you will know from the Cube set reviews that we've been doing, have just started a podcast called Powerful Nothing. This is a clip from the episode where we've broken down a bunch of the changes that they've recently made. The main conversation is already up as a separate video that I'll put a link to down in the description below. If you like Cube, I'd highly recommend checking it out. We're also joined by our friend Josh, better known as Firetruck on MTGO, and these two lads really know their stuff when it comes to the Vintage Cube. They've both already got a ton of trophies from this season, and I personally learned quite a lot from just talking with them. It's a really good watch. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Let me throw it over to me. Cool, so we have our first pack. So the picks are Aetherflux Reservoir, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Green Sun Zenith, Grist the Hunger Tide, Eureka, Kitchen Finks, Tiger, Vendilion Click, Dothy Voidwalker, Hex Drinker, Mindslaver, Goblin Guide, Emery Lurker of the Lock, Tendrils of Agony, or a Burst Lightning. So, who wants to go first and tell me what Storm card they're taking, or what are you both feeling from this pack?
This pack's a really cool one to start on though, because this is utter bullshit. This isn't a particularly powerful pack, and we're gonna be split as well, which is nice because this is a really low powered pack, right? Like, there's not a lot here to write home about. I think if we're trophying, then you can argue Goblin Guide or Burst Lightning are best. I'm always into dual lands. Tiger's pretty low down in dual land, so I think I'd be on Vendilion Click or Grist as my two picks from this pack.
Yeah, you're not wrong that we're split. For me, this is Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and it's not particularly close. I'm not actually that unhappy with Fable Pack 1 Pick 1. Like, obviously, you'd way rather have like a Mox or something super busted, but if you're below that tier, this card does so much. It accelerates you on mana, it requires 2 removal spells, it gets you card selection, and it's only 1 color. Grist is the other second for me, because it's just so powerful in terms of value. But yeah, I'd be on Fable here, I think.
Yeah, I have a big tendency in this cube specifically to, if I've got 2 powerful effects, I'm usually quite likely to push into the blue card more, because the payoffs of cutting blue is there's so many rewards later on that, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you just end up blue a lot more than any other color, right? Yeah. But I just think the difference in power level between Fable and Click is too much, and Fable's also pretty splashable. It's only 1 pip.
Fair.
Yeah. I'm train wrecking my draft early and taking Grist, and
yeah, no, I don't think that's train wreck. Grist is really powerful.
Yeah, I really like it. Like,
works with all these new tutors, right? Your time of need can go and get your Grist as well, right?
Yeah, well, also, yeah, like Green Sun is in this pack. Maybe we can wheel that, and then you have a tutor for a kill spell and stuff.
Like Glorious Vengeance and make an insect.
Sure can.
Might make 2.
All right, let's load up a new pack. We have a Sower of Temptation, a Cabal Therapist, an Elspeth Conquers Death, an Embercleave, a Parallax Wave, a Zuran Orb, an Urza Lord High Artificer, a Maelstrom Pulse, a Mutavault, a Miscalculation, a Fiery Confluence, a Gitaxian Probe, a Armageddon, a Trinket Mage, and a Woodfall Primus. James, you want to take this one first?
Sure, yeah. It's another pretty interesting one. The cards I'm considering here are Miscalculation, Fiery Confluence, Gitaxian Probe, and Urza. The Miscalc is like an unassuming card, but counterspells are really, really good in Cube. It's only 1 blue pip, and like, sure, 2 is not that much. It will go dead at some point, but that's when obviously the cycling is great. I like that over Probe, I think. Urza is higher upside, but I think I would settle on Miscalc.
Yeah, I thought this pack was really interesting until I saw the Miscalc. I think permission and just general very cheap interaction is a bit too good to be passing up on. I was a bit split on the other cards that I'm interested in. I was into the ECD a lot more. Elspeth Conquers Death, I think, is really powerful. You kill their thing, you make their life hard, and then you bring back the best thing that's been around, sort of thing. So I think it's actually a really, really good card. But I think this pack, at the end of the day, is actually miscalc and not close, if that makes sense. Like, I think the rest are a lot just... Urza's very good, but I think miscalc's just so powerful that we can take miscalc and not commit to anything too hard.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I'm definitely seeing the difference between powered cube and what I would take in my own personal cube, which is not powered. Because I'd probably... Before this conversation, I'd be like quite high up on like taking Embercleave, but I think definitely some of the things that you spoke about earlier definitely set it into context in this particular cube. For me, I guess because I have not played as much of it, so don't value the counter spells as much, which is probably not a correct thing, but I'd be tempted by something like Fiery Confluence just because that seems to go in a number of different decks with quite a high upside. But
like, completely separate from recording, like, even like this pack is viable in your cube, right, Messon? Like, even if this is your cube, I'm still
I think pretty much everything apart from Trinket Mage has been in my cube at some point.
Yeah, like I'd still be taking Miscalc.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I think Fiery Confluence would not be an unreasonable card to take. It's kind of the definition of a really good modal card, right?
Yeah.
Like, none of the modes look insane on their own, but like when deal 2 to everything is great, it's really, really great, and it'll win you the game. And when shattering 3 things is great, that will win you the game too, you know, like...
Yeah, but like, the other modal card in the pack is counter target spell or draw a card. And those two modes are a lot less situational than the card that is twice as expensive and not blue. So it's just like...
But sometimes Fiery Confluence is a 3-for-1, and Miscalc is never a 3-for-1.
Like, yes and no, right? Like, it's like in Cube, there's a lot of plays where you do something, and you know, you do a couple of iterations, and then the big payoff comes in. And if you miscalc that, it can be. You know,
Yeah. No,
you know.
And the other big thing for Miscalc, right, is it's blue. You're gonna end up blue a lot more than any of the other colors.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just not committal at all.
Yeah.
Fair. All right. Next up, we have Narset Parter of Veils, a Baleful Strix, Sulphurous Springs, a Desperate Ritual, Tinker, Vendilion Click, Silent Clearing, Muldrifter, Sword of Fire and Ice, Remand, Thespian Stage, Flicker Wisp, Lingering Souls, Sword of Feast and Famine, and an Una's Prowler. So, I think I know already you two are just going to take the Remand here. I'm going to make an argument for Tinker. If I'm playing this kind of cube, I want to do something big and broken. I'm planting my flag. We're forcing Tinker. It's not correct, but I'm going to have a ton of fun. The other cards that kind of I could see being that I would be tempted by, I do like Baleful Strix, but going into 2 colors early, not ideal. Apart from that, maybe Narset. But yeah, you two, where are you leaning towards this pack?
I think I am on Remand. I really wanted to not say Remand to not be predictable, but it's just gonna be good in every deck, right? Like, even Remand as well, and this was also applied for Miscalc, but the counterspells that are only 1 blue pip, because counterspells are so powerful, like, I will pretty happily splash blue in a mostly white aggressive deck for like a Remand and a Spell Pierce, you know, and be pretty happy about it. So like, I actually have Remand, I think, over Counterspell, for example, for mostly that reason. But I wouldn't fault anyone for taking Tinker. If it was like, if I'm just drafting on Magic Online and I felt like doing something broken, I might take Tinker. I don't think it's an unreasonable pick. I think Tinker and Remand are better than all the other cards in the pack.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is a complete, like, what mood am I in, right? Like, think if I'm on a streak of losses, I'm gonna take the remand and just be like, no, this is bullshit. But I would really struggle to pass the Tinker here, and I'd be happy to, like, it's one way you go, I'm gonna take Tinker, remand's correct, and like, but there's also an argument in this cube as well. It's just like, pick one, pack one Tinker is the best time to get Tinker right, because then we're informed for the other 44 picks. So it might actually be right that Tinker is correct, because it's such a powerful card, it's such a high upside, and this is the best time to take it. Like, we can hopefully get other good blue cards. Like, Remand is replaceable, Tinker is not. I think Remand is better, and I'd take Tinker.
Let's go. Awesome. All right, should we do one more? Do you fancy one more?
Yeah, one more.
Let's see if we can get some power, or maybe even a fetch land.
Yeah, we've had a distinct lack of power so far.
All right, we have a Lightning Helix, a Omnath Locus of Creation, a Inferno Titan, a Blade Splicer, a Mystical Tutor, a Jace the Mind Sculptor, a Karplusan Forest, a Rampaging Frostodon, a Thieving Skydiver, a Worldly Tutor, a Lutital Core, a Craterhoof Behemoth, a Sahili Sublime Artificer, a Badlands, and a Jetmir's Garden. So, who wants to...
I'm taking Jace.
Yeah.
This is one of those packs that you open up and you see the Jace and you think, I'm going to take the Jace, and then you look at the rest of it and there's nothing really else to write home about, and then you take the Jace. In my opinion, like, there's not even like picks in this pack where you think, oh, maybe I should force mono red and mono white because I've opened up the Mother of Runes or whatever is, or the Ragavan. It's just, there's 15 cards. Jace is clearly the best one.
Yeah, I'd probably be on Jace. I think Mystical Tutor is the other one I'd consider. It's like great in Reanimator, great in Storm.
Have you tried Jace in those decks?
I like Mystical Tutor a lot more than Jace in Reanimator.
Like, my issue with Mystical Tutor is that it's just awful in every other blue deck, right? Like, I'd much rather get Mystical later, and I think there's outs that Mystical can wheel.
Out of this pack?
Out of this pack, no, actually, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, actually. This is one of those packs where if you get to the end of the pack and go, there's 14 cards and you never saw this one again, it's just not... Don't worry, guys, let's just go to the next pack. It's fine. Like, doesn't matter.
I was about to ask, what are you hoping to wheel? But okay.
I'm always hoping to wheel Omnath every time I see it, because it's great and I love it. I'm assuming my next two to three picks are fetch lands, and we'll go from there.
I think, yeah, the wheel out of this, I'm hoping to wheel the Thieving Skydiver or Lutital Core, maybe the Badlands on a very lucky day. Like, if I get either of those two blue cards back, maybe I don't get the Mystical Tutor back, but yeah, the rest of these cards are really underwhelming.
I think I already know the answer to this, but I feel I should answer anyway. With the changes to mono green now with more tutors, is there any...
What would make me switch from pack one a Worldly Tutor?
No, the hoof basically. Like, is there a world where, like,
take hoof, wheel Worldly Tutor?
I actually think you're probably onto something in that hoof is probably one of the next cards that we should actually be looking at. But then I know that James and I both absolutely hate the mono green deck, and like, I've seen James with like 8 1-mana elves, all of them only tap for green or whatever. Like, maybe they don't, but like, just 8 1-mana elves, and he'll be midway through pack 2, pack 3, and he'll get offered like Natural Order or, I don't know, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, right? And I'm like, James, you could clearly take this Natural Order for your Woodfall Primus. And he's like, yeah, but I've got a Noble Hierarch and a Breeding Pool, so I'm going to take the Teferi. And it's like, that's just roughly where we land on mono green. I've drafted mono green, dropped without playing again, and drafted again. So like, it's just, We just don't want to be there, and that's why I didn't notice that was in the pack until you said so. And you've already asked me what I'm hoping to wheel. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just not. It is powerful, and it might be the card after Jace. In real, like, I'm trying to win games of Magic, but I'm just not doing that.
I don't even really believe that it leads to many trophies drafting mono green. I mean, I don't enjoy playing it. That's not the only reason I don't draft it. I don't actually think it's that good because it's just not that consistent. Your draw needs to line up so well. Like, you need the exact right combination of ramp and payoff in your hand every time, and we have no selection for it.
No, but I think that's where it's changed now.
I guess maybe the tutors, sure.
I think the tutors now have changed that, right? Because if we drop all of the bad mid-range cards that we used to have to play with, and you add 3 cards which tutor a creature to your hand, it's still slow, and I'm still not into it, but I think it's slightly better.
Yeah, the issue I have is just
Llanowar Elves?
Because because tutoring for like an elf isn't good, right? Because it's like top deck tutors and
we're not
tutors. So why is it better having a bunch of tutors than just having like more expensive cards?
Because they draw your expensive cards, right? We don't need 6 different hoof variants now. We just need 7 elves, 4 tutors, and a hoof.
But if all the tutors do is find 7 and 8 drops, just play more of the 7 and 8 drops, you don't have to spend a bunch of mana on the tutor.
Yeah, that's fair. But like, doesn't Worldly Tutor tops the land as well, right? So we've now got a tutor for Cradle. That's pretty good. Does it not? Then fuck it.
Yeah, just a creature. Just a creature.
Right. Oh, there's Living Wish. That always gets me. Living Wish gets creature or land out of the board. It always gets me. Yeah, I think you could pretend that there's arguments for hoof.
And take Jace.
Take Jace.
Right.
Are you really actually on Mystical or Jace? I think Jace is just...
I think Jace is best, but I do think Mystical's second. Like, what would you take if Jace wasn't here?
Mystical or Badlands.
Okay.
But Badlands is very good in Storm, right? And that's where I want to be every draft ever.
Sure.
I want to be playing Badlands or Tundra. That's the end of list of cards I want to play in Cube. Just roll the dice every time.
Yeah.
2 and 540. Is it there? No. Next Q. Let's go.
Alright, thank you all very much for watching. Do like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can find Power for Nothing anywhere where you can find a podcast, so please go and check it out. I think you'll like it. But until next time, I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.